Okay, good morning, Primary 1 and Primary 2s. So today we are going to learn all about how to create our own mind map. Now, our mind map is going to help us when we are watching our story to take down some key information and put it on a piece of paper, and then later when we go to look at our piece of paper, we should be able to tell somebody all about the story from only using what we have on our piece of paper. So to start with, we need a pencil. Make sure it's nice and sharp. If not, get yourself a sharpener and a rubber in case we make any mistakes. And we can just rub them out and start again. Okie dokie, so the story that Miss Wells and Miss Covum have decided we're going to watch this week is called La Luna. And since that is the title of our story, we're going to put it right here in the middle of our piece of paper. Okay, so we need a capital O and an A to make the word la, and then we need a finger space, another capital O, a, n, and an A to spell the word Luna. After you've done that, we're going to make what looks like a cloud bubble all the way around our title. So you just take your pencil and draw little semicircles and join them all together so it looks like a cloud all the way round our title. And there we go, we've done that. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to talk all about the setting. So the setting of our story, which is where the story takes place. And we are going to write all of this information over here on this side of the piece of paper. Okay, so over here we're going to write the title setting. Now, since we are writing the beginning of a word, we need to remember our capital letter. So we put a capital S all the way up here, and then we need to write an E, a special friends T, so it's two of them, you can join the T together, an E, and your ng sound, n and a g. Now, if you're in Primary 2, you can do your fancy P2 writing. In Primary 1s, we just want to make it look as neat as possible. And since we are talking all about our setting, we need to underline this so that we know all the information about the setting is going to be underneath it. So you can draw a straight line or a squiggly line or a zigzag line, whatever you feel like will make it look the prettiest. So since the setting is talking all about where it takes place, we are going to write that word here to remind us when we're watching our video what we are supposed to put in this piece of paper. So over here we're going to write the word where. Now we need a capital W, then we need a H, and E. And since we are asking a question of where does it take place, we are going to put a question mark. Now this is a funny looking thing that we draw over here, so if it doesn't look like mine, that's okay, don't worry about it, it's really hard to do. So if you're in Primary 1, I would like you to draw me a picture, or you can write some words if you're feeling like you want to push yourself. Primary 2s, I want to see some good wow words in our sentences, okay? So lots of descriptive words to tell me all about where it takes place, and there are 2 places where it takes place in this story, and you're going to make sure you tell me about both of them. And then the second thing that we're going to talk about in the setting, so where does it take place, is what time of day it takes place. So is it daytime or is it nighttime? Now, I think a good thing that would be a reminder for us about whether it's meant to be daytime or nighttime is if we draw a sun and a moon. And that can help us to remind us we need to write down whether it's day or night. So we can draw a sun. Now make sure you leave lots of space. It's not too close to your where, because if you're drawing me a picture or you're doing some writing, we need to have enough space to do that, don't we? So we need to leave a wee bit of a space, and then draw your sun, and then draw your moon. And there we go. So we need to write whether it was in daytime or nighttime. And again, Primary 1s, you can just draw a picture if you want to. If you'd like to do some writing, then that is okay too. Okie dokie. So we have finished our setting section. So what we need to do when we've finished it is we're going to draw a big line all the way from our S all the way down to our bubble to connect it so that we know that this setting is to do with this story, La Luna. So we're going to draw a line all the way from your all the way down till it touches your bubble. And there we go, we have finished our setting, which is all about where the story takes place. Next, we are going to look at character, and we're going to do it all the way over here, because if we do it over here, we won't have enough space for all our information, will we? So we need to make sure we do it on the other side of the piece of paper where there's lots and lots and lots of space. Now, the character of a story is the main person. So who is the story all about? So we are going to write the word character. Now, this is a really tricky word, so I will help spell it out because it doesn't sound how it should. So we have a capital curly K. Then we have a H, a, a, curly K, t, e, and . And again, since this is a little section over here, we need to underline it. So I might do a wavy line under this one this time to make it look a bit different. And so over here, we are going to write about what our character looks like. So to give us a little reminder, I think we should draw some eyes, and that can help to remind us that we are going to talk about what the character looks like. So over here, draw yourself some eyes. You can make them googly, you can make them silly if you want, that's okay. Whatever will help you remind yourself that this is about to be what the character looks like, okay? So if you're in primary 1, you can draw me a picture. If you're in primary 2, I would like to see lots and lots and lots of information. So is it a young boy? Is it an old man? Is it a girl? Is it a dog? And if so, what are they wearing? What colour is their hair maybe? What colour is their skin? Okay, but remember it's only about the main character, so the person who is in the story the most. Who do we see the most in the story? Okay, so that's who the main character is. And next thing we want to know about the character is we want to know what the character sounds like. So if we were to remind ourselves of what a character sounds like, I think an ear would be a good picture to help us remember what a character sounds like. So we're going to draw an ear over here, and you can colour that in later. We'll talk about that in a minute. So we draw an ear to remind us that over here we are going to write all or draw all about what a character sounds like. So if we think they sound like an old lady, then we're going to write old lady or draw a picture of an old lady. If we think that they sound like they've come from another country, you could maybe try write what country you think they come from, okay? And then the last thing that we want to know all about our main character is how they are feeling, okay? So you're going to tell me whether they are happy, sad, excited, nervous. So if they have a smile on their face, we might think that they are happy or excited. And if they have a sad face on and they have a frown or a grumpy mouth, then we might think they're sad, grumpy, nervous maybe, okay? So over here, I think to remind us, we could draw a smiley face and we could draw a sad face to help us remember that we need to say whether the person is happy or sad. And primary 1s, remember you can draw a picture. And primary 2s, I would like to see an exciting word there. So I want to see sad or happy. Remember, we have talked about lots and lots of wow words this year, so you could maybe use excited or fantastic or nervous or anxious, because we've learned some shush words, haven't we? Okay, so I want to see some really good descriptive words in that section. Okay, so over here, we're going to do what the character looks like. Here, we're doing what the character sounds like. Here, we're doing how the character feels. So now we have all this space from all the way over here right up to the bubble, so you can take all of that space to write your answers in. So you don't need to go down the way, you can go across the way this time, okay? And then now we've finished that section, we need to go all the way from our draw a line all the way down to meet our bubble, okay? So we're going to do that right now. all the way down until it touches our bubble. And there we go. We have finished our character. So now, down at the bottom of our page, so make sure you leave enough space. I would maybe say 3 fingers. We're going to write a new word, and this is a word called introduction. Now, primary 2s, we have learnt our shin sound, so this should be a word that we know. Primary 1s, this is a very tricky word, and this is all about the start of a story. Okay, so we're going to write the word introduction, and Miss Wells will help us spell it out. So we need a capital I, an N, T, R, O, D, A, curly K, and then we need T, I, O, N. And that word says introduction, which means the start of a story. And since this is a little heading for our section, we need to underline it. And I think this time I might do a zigzag underline. So you can choose whatever way you want to underline it. And so to remind us over here that we need to write about the start of the story, I think we could just write the word go. And that reminds us that when we watch the video, we just need to remember what happens when we press play or go on the video. So let's write the word go, which is a G and an O, and I think I'll put a little circle around it to remind me that we're writing what happens at the start of the story. Or you can draw a picture, whatever you feel like doing. And now we have all this space here that we need to fill when we find that information out from the story, okay? That's all we need to do for that bit. So we're going to take our line from our N all the way up to our bubble. All the way up. It doesn't matter if it's straight, it can be curly, it's up to you. Okie dokie, so next, if you've got the start of the story, what usually comes next? That's right, the middle of the story. So we are now going to write the word middle. So I'm going to write a capital M, an I, special friends D, which means there's 2 of them, an O and an E, and there we go, we have the word middle. And you're right, we do need to underline that one, so I'm going to do another wavy line, I think, this time. A wee wavy line, there we go. And so now Miss Wells is going to give us 2 clues, but I'm still not telling you what happens in the story. I'm going to draw a picture here to help remind you that you need to write about this, and it's going to be a picture of a brush, so maybe you want to draw a picture of the brush too. It can be a fancy brush or it can be a really simple one, it's up to you. You can choose. Mine looks a wee bit funny. Okay, so now you've drawn your brush. That is your clue, okay? So over here, next to your brush, I want to hear or see some information about the brush. So something happens with a brush in the story and you need to tell me what the problem is, okay? And then the second problem that we have is all about a star. So underneath your brush, remember, and leave enough space like we did over here with our where and our daytime or nighttime. You need to leave a space, and at the bottom of the page, draw yourself a nice big star. And in this story, there's going to be a humongous star. And you need to tell me what the problem is with this star, okay? So that's our 2 reminders for the middle of our story. We have our brush and we have a star. Now remember, you can either draw a picture to tell me about it or you can write. It's up to you what you choose. But primary 2s, we would like to see lots and lots of writing, okay? And that is us finished our middle section. So we need to take our line from our D this time all the way up to our bubble. So, it's not a very straight line, but that's okay. It's not meant to be straight. And our last thing we need to do today is, what do we think is going to come over here? So we've got the start of the story, we've got the middle of the story, and now we need to talk about, that's right, the end of the story. So over here we need to write the word end. So we need a capital E, an N and a D. And we need to underline that. So I'm going to do a straight line this time rather than a squiggly one or a zigzag one, just a straight one. And all we need to do in this section is tell me what happens at the end of the story. Okay, so we can write the word stop, I think. S-T-O-P. And again, I think I might put that in a little circle just to remind me that when you stop the story, when the story stops, what has happened just as the story stops. Okay? So that's us. Oh, no, we haven't finished. We need to draw a line now from our all the way up to our bubble to join it on with everything else. Okay, and now I'm going to put my pencil down because we have finished drawing our mind map. So let's go through all of our steps again. So we have written our title in the middle of our mind map, and our title this week is La Luna. We've done our bubbles around it, so we have our cloud bubble in the middle of our piece of paper. Over here we have the word setting, and this is all about where the story takes place. Okay, so here you're going to tell me where the story takes place. Primary 2s, remember to talk about both areas. And then after that you're going to tell me whether it happens in daytime or in nighttime, and that information goes here. Then over this side of our piece of paper we have all about our character, our main person in our story. And over here you're going to tell me what they look like. So remember, you've got all that space right up to your line there. Then you're going to tell me what they sound like all the way up to your bubble. And then you're going to tell me how they feel. So you see you've got lots of space to fill in all this information. And then at the bottom here we have the word introduction. And that tells us what happens at the start of our story. So we've got our word go to remind us what happens at the start. And then in the middle we have our middle section. And we talk about the brush, what happens there, we'll find out soon. And the star, what happens there. So you've got all of this space to write all about them. Okay. And then at the very end we have our end, and you need to tell me what happens at the end of our story. Okay. Now you can take, we did say get some coloured pens, you can take your coloured pens and make this look as nice as you want. And Miss Wells has got one that she made earlier, and here it is. And you can see I've coloured in my little pictures, I've coloured in my ear to make it pink, and my sun and my moon. So you can go over your drawings in pen to make them look nice and pretty. And then when you're finished, you can go and watch your other video. So you're going to watch the story La Luna. Now you can pause and start this story as much as you need, okay? So you don't have to write it all as you watch it through the first time. Maybe, I think Miss Wells watched it maybe about 7 times before I could get all the information. So you just need to watch it as many times as you need, okay? It's not a fast job, it's nice and slow to make sure you've got all of the information. Okay, and we are going to save this piece of paper with all of our information on it for next week's writing piece. So we need to make sure that we have got as much written on this as we possibly can. Okay, and if you get to something and you forget what it means, so you might get down here and be like, go, I don't remember what I'm supposed to put in this bit. That's okay, you can just come back and watch my video, and that will help you to remember what you're supposed to do in this part. And if you get really stuck and you find this really hard, then you can ask an adult to help you. Okay, so remember, they are there to help you with your jobs, just like it would be if we were in school. So now we've done all of our information, we've got our mind map, let's take our pencil and go watch our video.